at this battle. These two have been going at it, hammer and tong, and there, that's what happened.
Yeah, down in the brake zone for 11.
He was way down to the inside, the dirty part of the track, and
yeah. And that, as we said before, that's one of the older Ginettas, does not have the ABS and electronic aids on the 16 chassis that Ginetta's running.
So Chase has caught Baptista, and we still have 13.5 minutes plus left in this race.
Spoke to Rodrigo's manager this morning. He said they got big plans for next year, potentially moving up to GT3 machinery. So they really feel this has been a great learning process for the young man. He's certainly shown the speed and has the ambition. As we said, he has a mystifying demeanor, sort of like in the JPM mold Montoya.
Yeah, he really does.
When he first came on the scene here in the States. Seems very confident and has shown a lot of speed.
He's going to need to have some now at the pace of Parker Chase. Looks to the inside of Dickerson. And I wonder if what you were just talking about, I wonder if Dickerson, the pace he had up at the front with those smaller tires, that may have just taken a toll.
I think so. I mean, we don't see the car sliding necessarily, but he's obviously having to control some of his rolling speed through the corners. But still a really impressive debut. And with these double-header weekends, we've seen it before, Greg, where a driver learns a lot in the first event of the race and comes back even stronger for tomorrow in terms of adjusting the setup, adjusting the driving style, adjusting how hard you push early in the going. So I think we'll expect pretty similar conditions here for tomorrow.
I would think so. It certainly seems from what we saw in testing in the first practice into qualifying, a pretty quick study. Chase now very, very close to Baptista coming out of turn 20.
He could have popped to the inside here. Rigo suddenly just veers over there a little bit towards the brake zone, but doesn't take the line completely away. Opens it back up so he can roll radius through to turn 1.
Baptista just a smidge wide. Thought that was a pretty savvy move there by Parker, because you could see Baptista kind of ease over. Parker didn't go with him, so Baptista went, okay, I'm going to come back to the line. Right then, Parker dove to the inside. He'd just been a smidge closer. That could have been a brilliant move.
Yeah, and recognize your opponent, too.
Yeah.
I think you have to handle everyone differently.
There's no question through the S's here at Ginetta right now. Has it.
You see there, Baptista slipping and sliding a little bit coming
May
through.
open the door up enough. Ooh,
Yeah,
and then it hit that curb, and Parker got it sideways.
Yeah, just a little slip there by Baptista was enough for Chase to take advantage. When I say slip, I don't think it was a mistake, just the tires are probably going away a little bit. Now it's a drag race, which the Cayman should win here.
Look at that great shot, tails away down this massive straightaway, and there you go. But does that give Parker an opportunity to be close enough to do something in the braking zone? He's thinking about it.
Baptista is impressive. It's really hard to just focus on hitting your marks and braking late when you know you got someone skiding down the inside. And I've seen Baptista do it a few times as now Parker Chase takes that position away. But a bit similar to what we saw in Mark Wilkins at Utah. He's under attack, but still maintained the line where the grip is and just tried to maximize what he could do and let the other guy just get on with it.
Using the best defense was a good offense approach.
Right.
Just drive as hard and fast as you can where the grip is.
The tendency is always to defend, you know, shut the guy down, Whereas if you just focus on like braking as late as you can on the grippiest part of the racetrack, that may be enough to clear the guy anyway.
So Parker through. That's going to move him up into 4th. With 10 to go, does he have time to reel in young Dakota Dickerson?
He's drifting now. The car gone away, or did he just overdrive it a little bit there through the final corner?
I saw when he clipped that curb a little bit up in turn 10, and the car just skated on him. So this is where he should be able to draw away from Baptista from what we've seen of the performance of the Ginetta in the S's.
Up front, Dollarhide has stretched the lead up to 3 seconds, so he looks to be in control of this race. We now get inside 10 minutes to go. Love GTS though, Greg. It's such a mixed bag. We came into it last year with suddenly all these different elements thrown at us. We didn't know what to expect. It didn't disappoint then, and I think it's even more refined this year.
I think you're right. Boy, big lurid slide there by Parker, a couple of corners back. Didn't cost him much. He just saved it and continued on. But yeah, that Jeanetta's starting to move around, and he's had to have used these tires up. These great Pirelli P0 slicks on that charge from dead last.
I think what's exciting about this class as well, Greg, we've got so many new GT4 cars on the horizon for next year, from BMW, from Audi, from Mercedes, and a lot of chatter in the paddock about who's going to do what for next year. New potential players coming to the championship.
Tremendous period here for GTS competition in the Pirelli World Challenge.
Well, I think just like in GT competition when we went to the GT3 platform, it really exploded. I think the same thing's going to happen here in GTS with GT4, which has certainly been embraced around the world globally. I think it's a sweet spot when we talk about amateur races, gentleman races, what they can afford to spend. It's nowhere near the high dollar operations that you need for a GT3 car.
Well, I mean, the simple fact, the Jeanette is a classic example of that. It's this great little chassis with a absolutely stock Ford V6, the same engine that comes in a V6 Mustang. So you're not spending huge money with a race prep motor and builds after every race or every 2 races, and just keeps the overall running costs way down, relatively speaking.
And it's a great playground for the Pro-Am drivers and young drivers like Baptista and Dickerson, who are going to go on to, higher levels of the sport at some point for sure. So it's a great training ground.
And Parker able to ease away just a little bit from Baptista. But he hasn't at this stage. I think it's probably because he has pushed that car to its limits and maybe beyond a couple of times here. He hasn't been able to do much with Dickerson, has he?
No, he may have, be about 10 minutes shy here in terms of the ultimate performance of the Jeanetta to grab that final podium spot. But we'll see. Look at this.
Whoa.
There's a little battle going on here between Oschenbach, Gottsacker, Stavely. Barkey's in the mix, having a great run again.
Courtney there as well. 5 cars. Boy, and this is where Lawson Oschenbach earns everything he gets.
Ooh. Great feel there. I don't think there was a touch, but it's like Lawson was reacting to how close. Like there was a little air pocket on the left rear fender, the right front fender of that Jeanetta.
He felt that side draft. And look at this. Stavely was through on him, and Lawson able to counter and pick that spot back up again. I was going to say, this is where Lawson earns any kudos that he gets. It's a car that clearly just does not have outright lap pace. His driving this year has been spectacular. Boy, look at Courtney get a run.
Big run there. Got the power down early. Using the Maserati speed to good effect down the straightaway. So there's Martin before the brake zone, and here comes Martin back at him.
It's not quite close enough.
It's not like you make a Parsnale car. I'm done with him.
Yeah,
you got to be back on the.
And never with Martin,
mode.
He'll always throw a counter punch. And we're going to go back to the fight references. Gottsacker quickly has driven away. Stavely recognizes that, wants to get through as well. We've talked about this so often, is that seeming sixth sense that Lawson has, and all the great drivers do, of exiting a turn to put your car exactly where the guy behind you wants to go.
Yep.
And he is something special at that.
He does. You don't see him kind of get into positions where, unless someone really makes a crazy move, that there's going to be contact. He typically survives the moment, typically maximizes and executes each race to the best of his ability, whether it's for a win, a podium run, a top 5. Today, maybe even top 7 will be the best for him.
Boy, Courtney just read that to perfection. Stavely ran right up under the braking for 20 onto the back of Lawson. Couldn't get through on him. And Courtney squared up, went to the throttle a little bit early, came right up the inside when Stavely lost his momentum. And Courtney, that's 2 positions in about a third of a lap.
Yeah, and he's had a big year.
Smartly.
He's had a big year,
Yeah,
Jeff Courtney. I really think he's having fun. I know he gets frustrated at times, but I think that frustration is it's happening because he's becoming more competitive. Trying to spit that out.
I would agree. It started with that great pole in his first race of the season at VIR. He's been there or thereabouts the whole time.
He races clean and expects to be race cleaned as well. So if he gets into it with anyone who he feels is being too aggressive, he doesn't like that.
Oh, look at Barkey. Just inside of Stavely. That's a good point, though. I mean, he does. You know, you don't see Jeff ever taking anybody out, and then when he gets clipped, it frustrates him. And he said, we don't need to be doing that. Just a little respect. And look at Gottsegger, how much ground he's made up. Sitting there in that 6th spot. Oh, look at this. Parker is through. That's for the podium.
Grab that podium spot. Does Dakota have anything for him here? 3 minutes to go. Probably 2 and a bit laps left, I would think.
Yep.
Fast start finish, and the next time by would think it'd be the white. Parker's really tried to roll speed there through that final corner, but sliding the car a little bit, missing the apex.
He's right down the middle. Realized he didn't get out of there well, and Dickerson might try something. Dickerson swings out to widen out the radius a little bit.
Liz, I don't think that crossbow has the torque to sort of like make the move. You may get alongside, but I don't think you're going to make it stick. So I think if he's going to make the move, it's going to have to be to the inside. If you got massive torque, you can maybe do the undercut and power off the corner and beat him to the next one, but I'm not sure the crossbow has that ability.
Confirmation from race control. White flag next time by. Here's a look at the pass.
Just tucks it in there. Nice job.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Up front, Scott Dollarhide stretches the lead up to 4 seconds now in the Lotus.
James, with all the scrapping going on behind him, has been able to hang on to 2nd. Aschenbach back in 7th. Uh-oh. Dickerson, a problem. He just suddenly, he ran wide, exiting 11, and there are those 3 really aggressive orange.
I hope he's not out of fuel.
Curbs, well, fuel, or did he brake some? It doesn't look like it. I mean, cars looks to be rolling fine. Well, that would be the shame. So that's going to move Baptista up into 4th. Ooh, Meredith. That is a big, big bit of contact for Brett Meredith. That's another of the Global Motorsports Group Caymans.
Been really impressive this weekend on debut. Spoke to James Sofronis. He said he is super competitive. He's been doing a nice job.
Contact we're hearing, and that's into the barriers. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He's part of the that program. Yeah, I mean, Global Motorsports Group does aftermarket Porsche development parts and performance parts, and they get a customer and they help them out with track days if they want. And Brett was one of those guys that said, "I'd like to try a little racing," and they said, "He's you know on that competition issue is we have the white flag, 1 to go." He said right away we realized, yeah, he's serious about this. So that's cool. Last lap, and Parker Chase. He wants 1 more.
Yeah, he does, and he's close enough.
Yeah,
he's got enough pace left in that car. He could give Ian James a hard time here before the lap is over.
Here you see Dollarhide. There's a bit of a margin. This time by came down just a little from 3.9 to 3.6 seconds. Look at this battle here. Aschenbach full on defense mode from Courtney and Stavely.
Promoted Aschenbach up into the top 6 with Dickerson's issues.
Yes.
The only reason I'm thinking it could be fuel, Greg, is that sometimes you don't always top the car up. I'm not sure with the crossbow if you need to do that to get to the finish anyway for a 15-minute race, but sometimes you can save a little bit of fuel. And when you're doing practice runs, they're not always full-on, flat-out laps. And young Dickerson's pace could have caught the guys out. So just hypothetical, but when there's a minute or two left on the clock and he just suddenly sort of like slows, makes you wonder.
Yeah, I think it's well reasoned, absolutely. Like I said, the only other thing that makes sense for me was the exit of 11. If he got up on those really aggressive, there's three, there's a name for them. I can't know what they call them, but it's just like these bumpers, if you will. You get up on them and you're on throttle and that torque load right off, you see him there.
Right.
If you broke something, but boy, Lawson knows this is his last lap. Points are valuable and he is under attack. Meanwhile, up front, Dullahite, James and Chase. Is Parker going to figure out a way to get by Ian James here on this last lap? Well, so far Lawson doing the job up front.
Look at this, he does.
He's through.
Wow.
What a drive by Parker. He has come through. Ian's going to do everything he can here. But Scott Dullahite, Lotus, and Scott Dullahite win at home in Austin, Texas. And James.
He pips him.
He got him back.
Wow.
Used the torque of that big V8 in that Panos.
Remember, Parker had been slipping
Slide
really
back,
wide
yeah,
through that
that's a
final
good
corner.
point.
Maybe that caught him out and he just got the power down.
So Scott Dullahite, the Cinderella story here. There's no other way to put it. Hasn't raced in a long time. Certainly at this level. Comes into the race at home. Aschenbach just able to hang on to that sixth spot from a hard charging Courtney. Watch it from this angle. He did it. Yep. He missed the apex again, Cal.
Just slips a little bit through that final corner. Just didn't have the balance there at the end, and he just pips him. That was a great motor race.
That was fantastic. On a lot of different levels. Parker's
story.
charge through the pack. Aschenbach's defense. Dullahite's drive. It's great stuff.
Yeah, Scott's got to realize